Peter has said that if believers actually have a desire to grow in this knowledge and will be careful to build a superstructure consisting of these virtues that have been named over these last 5 weeks on the foundation that has been laid, Jesus Christ, then he will not be idle in his pursuit of full knowledge and grace. So the Christian life begins with faith, but that faith must lead to spiritual growth unless it is a dead faith. You already know this is elementary, first grade, Christianity 101, but here's Christianity 101. When you got saved, it's not finally over, it's just getting started. You just got in. And dead faith is not saving faith. James chapter 2, verse 14 through 21. Faith leads to growth, and growth leads to practical results in life and service. So people who have this kind of Christian experience are not likely to fall prey to apostate false teachers. So here's the question, and I'll dive in. How can the believer be certain that he's growing spiritually? And I'll ask you again personally, are you growing? What are the characteristics of growth in your life that God is moving from A to Z? You're not like a clock that's been unplugged. Vance Hafner said even a clock that doesn't work is right twice a day. So if you've been unplugged, or are you plugged into Christ and growing? So I'm going to talk about two things this morning. If I can get to it all, and if not, I'm going to back up tonight and I'll preach some of this some other time. But listen to this. I want to talk to you first of all about the claims of a godly life. And then I'm going to talk about the consequences. There's consequences that come along with the godly life. He begins the claims by talking about possession. If these things are yours, if they're yours. So the possession of the Christian virtues by the believer is a natural, expected thing by reason of the fact that he's become a partaker, verse number 4 of chapter 1, of the divine nature. So God's come to live in me. It's not a spasmodic possession, present one day and absent the next. If they were not present in the life, one could well discount the person's claims of being a child of God. But the qualities of character do exist within us because we possess the divine nature. We must cultivate these things in our life so that they increase and produce fruit in and through our lives. Here's a great statement. I must mind what is mine. God has placed some precious virtues in my life, but I must mind what is mine. It's amazing what all God has placed down inside of me that he wants to bring up out of me. Work out your own salvation so that he can touch other lives for the glory of Christ. What a difference it'll make. Jesus said it well in John 15:4. He just reminded us in verse 3 that apart from him, I can do nothing. But now I've got a divine nature in me. Christ is in me. So he says this, Johnny, you abide in me and I in you. And as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. But the promise, if you were to go on and read that text, is that if I'm abiding in him, he will not only bring fruit, he will bring more fruit. And the Bible says he'll bring much fruit. Don't tell me that if you're faithful, you will not be fruitful. You will sooner or later be fruitful.